What is up, Gothamites? Welcome back to the channel, your #1 source for everything Dark Knight. Today, we are opening a milestone issue, Batman issue 150. Normally, milestone issues mean massive, earth-shattering events with citywide destruction, Joker wars, or weddings that never happened. But Chip Zdarsky, along with the legendary art team of Cowan and Jorge Jiménez, does something very different here. Instead of going bigger, the story zooms in. It comes down to street level, away from gods and monsters, and focuses on the people who get crushed when titans clash. This is not just a Batman story. It is a story about the cost of living in Gotham. It follows a low-level henchman named Teddy, a man who claims he has the one thing every villain in Gotham would kill for: Batman's secret identity. The question is not just whether he really has it, but what that information is actually worth in a city that runs on fear. So grab your grapple guns, settle in, and let's break this issue down. The story opens in a classic noir setting, a rundown dive bar. We meet Teddy, our main character, sitting and talking with his bartender friend, Flanagan. Teddy looks desperate from the start. He talks about the old days when he used to hit high roller jobs, specifically mentioning the time when Catwoman was training guys. This directly ties back to the recent Gotham War arc, when Selina Kyle trained henchmen to be non-lethal cat burglars. Teddy wastes no time and drops the bomb. He explains that during a job at someone's house, he found personal belongings, bat-related equipment, and evidence that led him to believe he knows Batman's real name. Flanagan's reaction says everything. He immediately warns Teddy that this kind of information is way above his level. This moment establishes Gotham's hierarchy clearly. There are gods like Batman and Joker, and then there are bugs. Teddy is a bug trying to play God. Flanagan makes it clear that messing with Batman is not about money, it is about survival. The fear Batman creates is not only physical, it is social. Teddy thinks he found a winning lottery ticket, but Flanagan understands it is more like a signed death warrant. Flanagan then tells Teddy about something he personally witnessed a few years ago. The story jumps back in time to what he calls one weird night. The tone becomes darker and grittier, filled with shadows. Someone calls Flanagan into an alley where they discover a body lying in the rain. It is Batman. The scene feels like an urban legend brought to life. No one is sure if Batman is dead. His white lenses are still staring, giving the unsettling impression that his eyes are always open. That detail alone makes him feel less human. Someone suggests unmasking him to see who this dangerous figure really is. Flanagan tries to stop it, sensing that even unconscious, Batman is not someone to be taken lightly. The tension builds as one of the men reaches for the mask, wondering if the man underneath could really be as dangerous as the Bat. At that exact moment, Batman wakes up. He does not slowly rise or speak, he explodes into violence. The sudden movement and sound imply pure instinct and brutality. Back in the present, Teddy narrates this memory as if it is burned into his mind. He describes it as watching a demon come to life. Batman tears through them. The word Joker graffiti appears in the background, grounding the scene firmly in Gotham's madness. To Teddy and the other street-level criminals, Batman is not a man in a suit. He is something supernatural. Teddy admits that the sheer terror of that moment is what stopped him from ever seeing Batman's face. Returning to the bar, Flanagan tries again to bring Teddy back to reality. He calls Batman a demon, but Teddy, driven by desperation and cheap alcohol, refuses to listen. Another man involved believes the information could be worth $1 million. Teddy convinces himself that Batman is just a man, and men have secrets. He imagines meetings with the major players and thinks he could walk away with 10%. This is tragedy unfolding slowly. They even toast to getting rich. It feels like the classic one last score story, except the prize is not money or jewels, but dangerous knowledge. Teddy believes information is power, but in Gotham, information usually gets you killed. The scene shifts to Teddy's apartment at 3 in the morning. His wife, Kim, is awake. This moment grounds Teddy as a person, not just a thug. He asks about their son, Yuto, only to find out that Yuto has moved out. Kim is furious. She points out how Teddy shows up drunk in the middle of the night, repeating the same cycle over and over again. Teddy tries to tell her he has something big, something that will change everything, but she shuts him down immediately. The moment hits hard when Teddy realizes he did not even know his own son had left. Kim makes it clear that if Yuto wanted Teddy to know, he would have told him. The argument grows more intense. Teddy admits his deepest insecurity. He feels like he failed as a father, and believes his son started hating him the moment he became a teenager. This is the emotional core of the story. Teddy feels small, useless, and invisible. He convinces himself that money and one big win will earn back his son's respect. Kim responds with a painful truth. She tells Teddy that deep down, Yuto still looks up to him, but not like this. She is afraid that admiration will turn into imitation, that her son will follow the same broken path. Teddy finally says out loud what he has always believed about himself, that he is a loser. He claims he wants to start over, but his idea of starting over is selling Batman's identity. Kim reminds him that at 48, it is still possible to truly change, but Teddy is already walking out the door. Against all odds, Teddy actually gets his meeting. Percy connects him with Two-Face, a massive step up the criminal ladder. Teddy is used to working for lower-tier villains like the Ventriloquist or Firefly. Two-Face is A-list. Teddy enters the room shaking with fear. Two-Face orders everyone else to leave and decides to speak with Teddy alone. Harvey Dent sits calmly, flipping his coin. Teddy nervously shows respect and finally reveals his claim that he knows Batman's true identity. The contrast between Teddy's worn-out appearance and Dent's sharp suit adds to the tension. With Two-Face, every moment feels dangerous. Harvey Dent shows no interest in the name itself. Instead, he launches into a speech about duality. He talks about how they fight again and again, not just two people, but four sides. Without naming names, he draws a clear parallel between his own split personality and Batman's double life. Two-Face explains that Batman's true power comes from that division. He believes forcing Batman to choose between his identities would destroy the balance. If the Bat and the Man were made into one, Dent believes the man would disappear, leaving only the demon behind. Exposing Batman's identity would not end the game, it would ruin it. Two-Face dismisses Teddy as a simple thug who cannot understand that kind of beauty. He rejects the offer not because he doubts it, but because he does not want the answer. A pure bat, in his mind, would wipe them all out, and the fun would be gone. It is a sharp meta-commentary, showing that Gotham's villains depend on the status quo just as much as the heroes do. Two-Face flips his coin to decide Teddy's fate. The coin spares him, and Teddy is allowed to leave, though living with failure may be its own punishment. Teddy walks out shaken, convinced he was moments away from death. Percy cannot understand what went wrong, believing Teddy had everything lined up. Teddy finally realizes that the top-tier villains are completely unhinged. In the end, the message is clear. Gotham will not allow Batman to be unmasked, not even by those who hate him the most. Later on, we get a full splash page of Batman perched high on a gargoyle or rooftop, silently observing Gotham below. The perspective feels distant and cold, as if we are looking down from Batman's point of view at ants crawling through the streets. Below him are Teddy and his low-level crew. They spot Batman watching, but Percy assumes Batman is only there for some other criminal. Percy pushes everyone to move fast, explaining that they need to avoid the crazies and go straight to people who understand business. In their minds, that means Penguin. They convince themselves that Cobblepot is a businessman first and would actually pay real money for information. The crew arrives at the Iceberg Lounge, or one of Cobblepot's many front operations. At the door, a guard lays out strict ground rules and warns them not to mention the Penguin's father. Inside, they are not meeting Oswald himself, but his children and heirs, Theodore Critchley and Addison Cobblepot, who have recently taken control in the comics. Teddy nervously delivers his pitch once again, respectfully asking for $1 million. Addison Cobblepot laughs it off, making it clear that Teddy has not been subtle about his secret, and that word is already spreading on the streets. The Cobblepot heirs come across as colder and more ruthless than the old guard. They talk about wiring the money, but their tone quickly shifts. They explain that there is a problem, and that the situation actually gives credibility to Teddy's claim. Their logic is simple. If Teddy really knows Batman's identity, and Batman has not stopped him yet, then either this is a trap, or the information is real and valuable enough to torture out of him. Addison sends Percy away, telling him to get the money, while she handles Teddy alone. One of the guards, Roger, someone Teddy recognizes from his old days, quietly warns him that they are going to kill him. The realization hits hard. Teddy and his crew finally understand they are completely out of their depth. The true power of secret information they realize too late is being the only one who has it. Chaos erupts suddenly. The crew is attacked from all sides. Teddy is knocked down, helpless, and panicking. Roger yells in frustration, reminding everyone that he warned them to stay quiet. It becomes clear that Roger has already made a deal with someone else and sold Teddy out. A group of C-list criminals storms in with one goal: kidnap Teddy for the information. They find him lying on the floor and make it clear they need him alive, because dead, he is useless. Teddy wakes up later in a rundown safe house. Someone greets him mockingly as he regains consciousness. He is surrounded by a strange mix of familiar faces, including Roger, Cut Up, Belle, Ahmad, and Darren. These are the leftovers of Gotham, low-rent Catwoman knockoffs and generic thugs who survived but never advanced. They awkwardly introduce themselves one by one, almost like a support group instead of a criminal crew. They explain that they all henched together years ago for Firefly and other minor jobs. These are the people who never died, never moved up, and never got out. They are just still here. One of them hands Teddy a chipped mug filled with ginger tea, sincerely explaining that it helps calm nerves. The gesture is so genuine that it throws Teddy off. It is a strangely human moment. These are not masterminds or monsters, just desperate gig workers trying to survive Gotham's supervillain economy. Another member proudly talks about how he once used his own version of fear toxin. He admits it never caused screaming or hallucinations, only intense anxiety. It is basically a budget fear toxin that leaves people extremely uncomfortable. The moment is unintentionally hilarious. Then the tone shifts. The group explains why Teddy is really there. They tell him they want the information, Batman's identity. They believe that if all of them know it, it will be safer, because no single person can be targeted. One of them explains that Batman would never want Teddy sent to prison, because prison means deals, and deals mean secrets being traded. And those secrets would include Batman's own. The room goes silent as the implication sinks in. Steam rises from the ginger tea between them. They propose a partnership and explain that working together could make Teddy incredibly rich. Teddy hesitates and admits that he is actually trying to get out of this life. But the idea of the $1 million pulls him right back in. He worries openly about what happens if Batman kills him. Belle tries to calm him down, explaining that while Batman is terrifying, he is not someone who kills. She says they have worked around him long enough to know that much. We see a visual flashback of a past job involving Mr. Freeze. A freeze gun fires, and Freeze angrily complains that he has to do everything himself. This feels like Belle remembering how incompetent and dangerous their old bosses were. She reinforces that while they are terrified of Bat-villains and Batman's fists, she is confident Batman will not cross that line. The crew then lays out their plan for the next day, a simple bank job, quick in and out. The idea sounds insane considering they supposedly have the secret, but they explain that all they need Teddy to do is show his face. In their minds, Teddy himself is the talisman. Because he knows the secret, Batman will target them. They believe that attention will give them leverage, allowing them to grab the money and escape. Teddy looks at himself in the mirror, wrapped in bandages, realizing he is deeper than ever. The next day, they sit in the van, arguing over the plan again. One of them finally snaps, saying they have already gone over it 1,000,000 times. Teddy nervously asks if he should get a mask, only to be told that it defeats the whole purpose, since he is supposed to be the bait. They storm into the location, shouting commands and ordering everyone to the ground. Teddy is drenched in sweat. He is not leading anything. He is a liability. Then, everything goes quiet. From the shadows, Batman appears, standing alone. The setup is classic. The thugs shout and posture, but freeze almost instantly. One of them panics and apologizes, admitting that Batman promised to put in a good word with the cops. Betrayal happens immediately. Roger shouts in disbelief as the shooting starts. Batman becomes a blur. He moves through them effortlessly. Violence erupts, and the low-rent crew is dismantled in seconds. Teddy hides behind a desk, desperately praying and begging himself to survive. Batman finally stands over him, casting a massive shadow. Teddy begs, convinced Batman is about to kill him for knowing the secret. He looks up, and we see Batman's face close to his. The page cuts there, leaving the moment unanswered. Teddy wakes up somewhere completely unexpected. A dorm room. His son, Yuto, is standing there, shocked and angry, demanding to know what Teddy is doing there. It is 5 p.m. Teddy is confused, struggling to understand what is happening. Yuto's friends are there, watching. Yuto is embarrassed and points out how drunk Teddy looks at such an hour. That is when it hits Teddy. Batman did not take him to jail. Batman brought him here, to his son's college. Teddy is stunned to learn that Yuto got into university. He did not even know. Yuto coldly explains that he is a first-year business student and assumes his father does not care. Yuto asks if his mother told Teddy where he was. Teddy admits she did not and quietly says that it does not matter anymore. Teddy asks Yuto why he never told him about any of this. Yuto finally snaps. He explodes with years of anger, making it clear that Teddy has no right to know anything about his life. From Yuto's point of view, Teddy has done nothing but make his mother miserable, and Yuto admits that he played a role in that too. He explains that growing up, he thought his father was cool. Teddy came and went whenever he wanted, dropped cash on the table, carried a gun in his jacket, and showed up with bruised knuckles. He would come home drunk, fight with mom, and young Yuto would always take his side. He admits that he defended Teddy, called his own mother names, and waited for his father to come back again with stories and scraps of attention. The realization is painful because the man he once admired now looks very different. Teddy falls back on the one argument he has always used. He insists that he hustled, that he put food on the table, that everything he did was for his family, and that he risked his life for them. Yuto shuts that down immediately. He tells Teddy that none of it was true. Teddy did not do it for them. He hurt people and helped monsters because he wanted to. Yuto breaks Teddy's worldview apart, explaining that his father chose that life because he was scared of the real world and real responsibility. It was easier than being a husband and a father. Teddy tries to point out what he sees as a contradiction. He says Yuto's mother does not have money either, yet Yuto is attending one of the most expensive schools in the state. He questions whether Yuto really believes he got there just by working nonstop at a coffee shop. Yuto struggles to respond. He admits that he looked up to Teddy more than anything, and at one point he genuinely thought that maybe he could become just like him. Yuto then tells a story from his past. His voice stays steady but distant, as if he is watching it happen instead of remembering it. He explains that he knew where Teddy and his crew used to hang out, so he went there, trying to blend in and step into that world. He kept thinking that this must be what his father always felt, that mix of fear and excitement, working for dangerous people, and feeling like he mattered. Eventually, he landed a small disposable job, running supplies for Scarecrow. Boxes, chemicals, routes he was not supposed to ask questions about. Scarecrow was still in the early planning stages, sketching ideas and running tests. Then, Batman showed up. The memory becomes chaotic. Batman crashes into the warehouse like a storm. The panels feel jagged and violent. Steel bends, lights explode, and noise fills the space. Smoke, shouting, and bodies hitting the ground before anyone can process what is happening. At the center of it all stands Batman. Yuto explains that he had no idea what to do. You cannot fight a storm. Scarecrow, completely unhinged, releases his fear gas without caring who it affects. He does not care that his own henchmen are not ready for it. To him, they are just collateral damage. The gas hits Yuto. The formula is unfinished, and instead of visions or screaming terror, it triggers overwhelming anxiety. The room spins, his chest tightens, and it feels like his heart is about to explode. Yuto lies there convinced he is dying, thinking about how Teddy goes out every night risking his life, turning his mother into a widow and him into an orphan, all for no greater cause and helping no one. And then, unlike Scarecrow, Batman saves him. Yuto remembers a hand reaching out. He explains that somehow Batman knew who he was, and knew who his father was. Batman calms him down, listens to him, and actually takes the time to hear him. Yuto admits that no one had ever listened to him before. Batman pushes him to apply to school, and even sets him up with a scholarship program to help pay for it. That is how Yuto ends up in college. When Yuto asks Batman what he wants in return, assuming nothing is free, Batman gives a simple answer. He tells him to be better. We see a rare close-up of Batman smiling as those words land. A splash page follows, showing Batman in action, fighting Bane, taking down thugs, and saving people. The words "be better" repeat across the panels. Batman is not just stopping criminals. He is trying to inspire change. Back in the present, outside the college, Teddy is emotionally crushed, but finally awake. The words "be better" echo in his head. He realizes he has to leave when he notices Bruce standing in front of him. Bruce Wayne is there in a trench coat. Teddy admits that he should never have said anything to anyone, that the entire city now knows he has the secret. Bruce confirms it calmly. Teddy understands that his cover is blown, and that villains will hunt him forever for what he knows. Bruce offers Teddy a way out. What is done, but there is a place for him in Metropolis. A job. A new identity. Teddy asks the one thing that matters to him now, whether his son is going to be okay, and whether Yuto will avoid becoming like him. Bruce answers honestly, saying all anyone can hope for is that their kids take after the best parts of them. Teddy tears up and admits that he needs to figure out what those best parts even are. Bruce tells him that maybe this is how he finally finds them, and urges him to go make a new life, help people, and become the man he wants his son to be. Teddy boards a bus, the kind that smells faintly of vinyl and old rain, and takes a seat near the middle. A family sits nearby, a mother, a father, and a child, close and quiet. The shape of them mirrors his own life so closely that it hurts. He looks away. As the bus pulls forward, Bruce's words echo in his mind, overlapping and impossible to silence. If enough time passes, maybe he can come back, and when he does, Batman will be there to help. Teddy stares out the window as Gotham slips past in blurred lights and concrete. In the distance, the bat signal cuts through the clouds, bright and steady, shining above the cracked "Welcome to Gotham" sign and the looming new Triget Bridge. It feels like both a warning and a promise. The bus keeps moving. The family behind him laughs softly. Teddy exhales, long and slow.